Hey guys, good morning everybody. Coach Juvies here. I do have some handouts here that you guys can kind of follow along and just share out. I got like 5 of them, so it helps you guys couple up here. Alright, excellent. Cool. So check it out guys, good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm stoked to be here with you. I'm going to kick it off in that the first portion here speaks about Mrs. Brooks. So when I was in first grade, for the second time, I was held back because most people thought that I was disabled in some way. Like I couldn't learn, I had some disability, or I couldn't stay still. And I found myself really just stuck in first grade not wanting to learn until I met Ms. Brooks. Ms. Brooks was a resource teacher, and if you've ever been in that kind of situation, you're taken out of a classroom, in your regular classroom, and you're pretty much sat down and you start to learn what you should be learning in a regular classroom, but with a specific teacher. And Ms. Brooks, what I think made the difference with her was that she took her time, she made me laugh, she asked me how it was, and she asked me questions like, why don't I understand what I think I should understand? And so, over the course of my elementary school years, I went from people thinking that I was like disabled in some way to, you would say like a AP class kind of stuff. Like I was at the top of the class. And Ms. Brooks helped me identify that by just simply understand. So Ms. Brooks helped me understand. Moving on along, we have, when I was 8 years old, another scenario. I was sitting among my friends, like I am sitting among you guys, and just chilling in the hood, right, in Brooklyn, when my brother calls Joseph out. My brother is 7 years older than me, and Joseph happens to be at the rooftop of a 4-story building. Joseph is our neighbor. He lived right underneath us. So Joseph has a baseball, and this guy has an arm, and he throws that baseball straight down from the 4th floor, and I'm looking at it, and it hits me right in the head. And I am so in pain that you ever scream and you can't hear anything? That's me, right? And so I'm boiling up, my eyes are like tearing up, and my brother, I look over at him, and he's like, what the fuck, Joseph, what are you doing? And I'm gonna fuck your ass up. And he said, oh yeah, what are you gonna do? So then he looks at Junior. Junior's he's the same age as me, he's 8, and he's Joseph's brother. So my brother picks up Junior through his underwear, gives him a big ass wedgie, and hangs him on a fence, right? You can see scrapes and everything. Junior's just hanging there. Ah! Right? So my tears of pain turned into tears of joy, mainly because it was funny. But the takeaway from this is not necessarily an eye for an eye, but because my brother had my back at that moment. I mean, there was just like some random baseball to the head action. But my brother had my back, right? Moving along in life, high school, right? In high school, I had an opportunity to be part of a leadership class. It's an English class as well, AP. And Mr. Izzo, he was a very cool Italian dude who just gave a shit about youth. And he wanted to make sure that we live our life in the realest way possible. So as a class, he had us identify real. What does that mean to us? And as a class, we created R to be relentless, E to be effective, A to be analytical, and L to be logical, right? Being real. So we called each other out on stuff quite often in the class because we weren't being real. One of those things, right? You're being relentless, but you're being ineffective, right? You're being effective, but you're not like analyzing what the fuck you do. And then you're being logical, but some other pieces off, right? And so that helped us become closer, right? He taught me how to like really think about things as I approach it. He also introduced me to the nonprofit world. So in 1996, don't ask how that. 1996, I was introduced to that, working with the nonprofit world where I got to fundraise, work with schools, and as a youth, decide on how to identify grants to give to schools to do whatever they need to do to get better. Get a TV, grow a garden, take a video off your building, whatever. And so that's when I met Teddy Gross. Teddy Gross was the director of some place called Common Sense, a nonprofit called Common Sense. And in one of the meetings, I got to sit in with him and someone who was going to give him funding, right? A representative, big person, give him funding for the nonprofit. And in that meeting, I sat there, and between Teddy and the person, they spoke. This person gave me no knowledge. Like, it was as though I was speaking to the person, but you guys were being ignored. And so, in that meeting, I'll never forget this. In that meeting, Teddy was like, I'm gonna interrupt you for a moment, but I need you to acknowledge Julie. Like, we're doing this because of Julie. And this is the person who's gonna fund him, right? So like, I was shocked that I'm like, oh, you're being rude to the dude for me. Like, I was just like a volunteer youth, right? And what I took away from that experience, I mean, him meeting me today, is that he had my back. Like, he was really like about what his community nonprofit is about, and he was like, this is a representative of what I want the future to be, and so I need you to respect that now. Whether you give me funding or not, which was super ballsy, by the way, he was like, this is what this is about, so you need to like identify with the direction of what our mission is right now, right here in this conversation, and or whatever, like, I don't know what the next step would have been, but all I know is that in my heart, I'm like, hey, Teddy, you like putting it down, right? You come correct, right? So I bring this all the way around to the future. I did 16 years of nonprofit, 96 all the way to 2010, doing a bunch of advocacy for employment, education, housing, and all these different kind of approaches to help society. 2011, I started my coaching, right? And this is how you guys can turn to the next page. I got a little diagram on there. And my coaching started in 2011. I have two layers to this, and maybe a center layer. The top layer was education, right? I wanted to do fitness because I felt like, one, it was super fun. It felt liberating being outside of an office, right? And I wanted to connect with people in a different way that allowed me to be free and equally free others. And so fitness was the direction. I found CrossFit, and I got my CrossFit level 1, and that kind of like shot it off, right? I just kept wanting to get educated, because whenever I entered the gym and I asked for a job or I wanted a chance, they was like, well, what do you have to bring? And fortunately, like level 1 got me one class on a Tuesday, and I had a class, yeah, but I had no other schedule. So thereafter, I just went all over town, and I mean all over town. I went from Hidden Hills, does anyone know where that is? Or Woodland Hills? It's far, it's like 13, 14 miles, right? All the way to Long Beach. And I just like hustled and gave my resume and got certified and said, hey, I can create this program and I can do this for you. And then like little by little, I created a schedule for myself. On my motorcycle, head to the next gym. On my motorcycle, head to the next gym. And what I identified being exposed to so many different gyms is that, one is motorcycle is the way to go. But two, communicating and connecting with people was universally like very important to me. And so the stories that I said earlier about Brooks, Teddy, Mr. Izzo, right? That all is relevant daily, and what has been relevant daily throughout this whole timeline. And that I've gotten a chance to see people come from like very vulnerable spaces in their life into the gym, and then I get to work with them and be able to like foster what is the next level of you, right? And so not written on there are stories like Jody, who is a member, has been a member at the current gym I'm at, AMP, for the past 3 years. And I remember she was really scared, like, I've never done this. She's a woman of older age, she's like, I think in her 50s now. And she's just like, I need to get fit, I don't even know what that means. And so I took her from PVC to dumbbell to now barbell, now she's correcting herself on cleans, right? So something that seems like really far-fetched, honoring Ms. Brooks, honoring Mr. Izzo, honoring Teddy Gross, and being a voice and an advocate for individuals who come in and like, just don't know, they just want this thing that like, is a six-pack, or whatever is the image, right? Like, we take them from that and they're like, actually, we're gonna instill this, help you instill this yourself in your life, and create this voyage, right? So all the education that you see on there it's not a show off. It's not that I'm like, oh look at how educated I am. It's actually experiences that I've gotten to convert into any gym that I've been able to get into to add value. Yeah, for myself, cool, I love this shit, but like to someone else's life. So I want to kind of conclude. I'm going to fast forward here to the last page, and that there's three main takeaways from all these stories and even my timeline. First one here is that I want everyone here to identify with staying educated. And as much as the certifications are cool, like people have taught me way more than what was in the book, right? And so I encourage you guys to continue to reach outside of yourself and work with folks who maybe even make you nervous, right? From the timid to like the professional. The second component is, it's one bundle. It's create the space for people to grow. It's give, like you're gonna give them all that you have, like without like having any reservation. And what is it? Let go. Let go is kind of challenging, right? Because sometimes you want kudos for like, yo, I gave you this experience, your life is awesome. I'm awesome. But the idea is that you can actually let go of it, and it feels so much better just to be like, this is a part of my life that I want to hand it over to you, and you can grow out of it. That's awesome. And then the last portion here, you guys, I forgot what it was advocacy. Be an advocate for others. Sometimes I have a bone to pick with life, right? Pieces of life, hatred, people turning each other down or making each other small. And I think that in our interactions daily that we get to have with our clients, with each other, it develops an advocacy of like really growing, like stuff that you want to believe that makes the change. It's super corny, but like you want to be the change you want to see. The idea is that you're being an advocate daily, hourly, right now, right? And so the idea is that in your coach's journey, I want to share this with you so that you can have your own timeline at some point and be able to share this with others, right? Lead the leaders. So I'll leave you with that, guys. Thank you.